Welcome to That's Good Sports. I'm Brandon. If Tony Romo believes the Broncos are going to be a tough team, that is good enough for me, Perna.
The team that sticks out to me, in the AFC, I think the Denver Broncos have a chance to really shock some people.
Wow. I'm interested. Explain.
They went and got the one quarterback I think a lot of teams should have gotten this offseason in Joe Flacco.
Tony Romo, the greatest football announcer of all time, says Joe Flacco is the one QB every team should have went after this offseason. I think that means Broncos fans will be flacking off all year long. This week, the 49ers are in town. There was a reunion down in Dove Valley. You had the ghost of almost signing Colin Kaepernick return. You had Stanford alums and power GMs John Elway and John Lynch back on the field. Peyton Manning returned to probably tell everybody how to do their job. And the sweetest father-son reunion of them all. I'm, of course, talking about Rich Scangarello and his illegitimate son, Nick Mullens. The love only lasted a brief moment before players started fighting and getting kicked out of Saturday's practice. This is preseason game 3 for the Broncos, the second for San Francisco, and today I will tell you what you should be keeping a close eye on in this game. That's good sports. Please, if you're new to this channel, subscribe. I do football videos almost every damn day. Also, I will have Patreon announcements at the end of this video, but first, I can get my sleeve up. This episode is sponsored by Vincero Watches, and I'm excited to announce that if you use my link in the description, you'll get access to Vincero's massive 5th anniversary sale. Today is the last day for the sale. Now, you already know Vincero creates exceptionally crafted timepieces, and again, today, August 18th, is the last day you can take advantage of their biggest sale of the year, which includes everything on their site: men's watches, women's watches, sunglasses, and even leather wallets. This is my new Vincero watch from the Rogue collection, and if you want one, just like me, you need to check out Vincero.com right now because their watches are selling out fast with this huge sale. Again, discount link in the description, last day, Vincero. I know I shouldn't be doing this, but I am really rooting for the 49ers wide receiver Deebo Samuel to have a great game. The 49ers desperately need a receiving threat outside of George Kittle. Marquise Goodwin could be that guy, pending good health, and maybe I'm getting old, but there's no way in hell I'm trusting Dante Pettis in the red zone with hair that looks like he was dared to stick his fucking face in a cotton candy machine at the state fair. Deebo Samuel was taken in the 2nd round this year by the Niners, and I think he could be a key piece in their offense if he shows out this preseason, and we should get a good look at him on Monday night. The reason, though, that I'm rooting for him is he had to drop $3,700 at Shanahan's Steakhouse this week for the rookie dinner. Considering Kyle Shanahan will probably inherit that steakhouse one day, it's kind of fucked up if Mike Shanahan pockets that profit and doesn't at least spot the rookie with some extra cash after his checkbook was assaulted by his teammates. The odd thing is that a bunch of dudes who live in San Francisco, a city right next to the ocean, ordered the Seafood Tower for $4 in the Denver Tech Center, where the closest body of water is the Cherry Creek Reservoir, the #1 dumping site for Cherry Creek high school students to toss their used condoms. It's pretty difficult to say, based on what we have seen thus far for the Broncos, on how good their offense or defense will be. The defense appears to be the strength of the team, but one thing is certain: special teams is still a fucking mess. It's been like 3 years and the Broncos still haven't found someone who can catch a damn punt. Broncos special teams coach Tom McMahon said somebody has to step up, especially in the punt returner role. No shit. Right now, the guys being rotated in the punt return game are Kelvin McKnight, who despite high expectations has been an absolute zero. And that joke is for every 7th grade science teacher out there who is underpaid. Then you've got Nick Mullens, River Craycraft, and Brendan Langley. To reiterate, none of them have stood out as being a reliable returner for the team. I'm less worried about finding a kick returner because kickoffs are basically dead in the NFL. So part of me hopes the Denver defense forces numerous punts so we can get a better look at this position group. Nick Bosa for the 49ers will not play as he continues to recover from his serious ankle sprain. He has already decided he may sit out the entire season to save his body for the XFL. Sorry, that's a Bosa family joke. The 49ers traded a conditional second-round pick to the Chiefs for edge rusher Dee Ford this offseason. Ford then signed a 5-year, $87 million extension. Don't expect him to play, though, because he had a minor knee procedure that expected to keep him sidelined for a week or so. The 49ers need their defensive front to be good. They have heavily invested in that unit between Ford, drafting Bosa 2nd overall, drafting Solomon Thomas 3rd overall, drafting Eric Armstead with pick 17, and a year later drafting DeForest Buckner, also from Oregon. 4 out of the last 5 years, San Francisco has used their first pick on a defensive lineman or edge rusher. If they don't see a return on those investments soon, they probably never will. Just like all that money I invested in the Alliance of American Football. The biggest bonus, though, for Broncos fans is we will finally get to see decent time with the first team offense. The starters were semi-productive last week with a field goal that was set up by a 50-yard Royce Freeman carry. But this week, we're going to expect more, especially from Joe Flacco, who I am hoping is now on the same page as Philip Lindsay on how they will perform the duties of a simple handoff. Without Theo Riddick and the 0 times Flacco targeted him in the passing game, he'll probably have to throw the ball outside to the wide receivers a couple times and see how his chemistry and timing is with, say, Tim Patrick, who had this beautiful one-handed grab at practice thrown by Brett Rippon, Courtland Sutton, Deshaun Hamilton, and Noah Fant. Courtland Sutton has yet to catch a pass in a preseason game, but he did make a big dick grab over famed corner Richard Sherman at practice this week. I'm not sure if Sanders will play in this game. Emmanuel Sanders is supposedly going to get some preseason snaps at some point. My guess is it will be Saturday against the Rams, which if he doesn't play against the 49ers, this is Deshaun Hamilton or Tim Patrick's moment to shine. Patrick and Flacco are supposedly developing a little chemistry at practice, similar to the chemistry Walter White and Jesse Pinkman developed the first time that they cooked meth together. Just need Tim Patrick and Joe Flacco to get that nice, strong bonding meth connection, and they will be unstoppable for 5 perfect seasons. With the offensive line, I'm looking forward to seeing Dalton Reisner bury some people under the turf like Jimmy Hoffa. Shout out to the Irishman. And I'm hoping that Connor McGovern can snap the ball with consistency. If the center QB exchange continues to be an issue, how the hell will we ever get to see if Garrett Bowles can still tackle edge rushers? The depth on the offensive line is also a major concern. The second and third stringers have looked bad this preseason, which brings me great concern if any of the Broncos starters suffer injuries on the line. We will see Joe Flacco in the starting offense play more in this game, but we still don't know the order of the QB depth chart, which is interesting as Drew Lock may finally pass Kevin Hogan and take that coveted number 2 QB spot. 49ers fans will probably be content if the returning Jimmy Garoppolo simply does not throw 5 interceptions in a row. Who the hell does he think he is? Nathan Peterman? He wishes. Garoppolo threw 5 straight picks at practice this week, which got some people's attention, while Jimmy G comes off of a lost year after tearing his ACL. In Garoppolo's case, you shouldn't be able to have it all. You can't be ridiculously hot, absurdly rich, and also really good at football. And I swear to God, if you mutter the words Tom Brady, I will ban you from this channel. Tom has to have weekly sex with the devil, so he definitely does not have it all. For Jimmy G, one of those things has to go if he wants to succeed in life. And it seems like it's the football part, because after he got paid, he lost 2 of his next 3 games. So unless he gets horribly disfigured or asks Adrian Peterson for investment advice, he's not going to play well. And Justin Simmons proved that with a pick 6 off of Jimmy G on Friday. Simmons has had like 1 million interceptions through training camp, so if that continues into the regular season, he might set the all-time record for interceptions. During the game, it's going to be a great test for the pass rushers to get there and throw off Jimmy G's timing, because the 49ers throw a lot of short routes, and Garoppolo has one of, if not the quickest releases in football. If he doesn't look sharp, it's okay, because you remember QB2, Nick Mullens, who got Twitter verified last season after shredding the Raiders, thank you Nick, 34-3 on Thursday Night Football? Rich Scangarello personally brought Mullens into San Francisco, and at this point, I'm not sold that Jimmy G is a better quarterback than Nick Mullens, who should be fun to watch with a bunch of starts under his belt on Monday night. Nick Mullens has the advantage in this game over, I think, any player. He'll be playing second after Garoppolo against the Broncos' depth players on defense. My prediction is that he ends up looking really good after Jimmy G has a mixed bag performance. That is, of course, unless Malik Reed for the Broncos continues to bring pressure like a veteran pass rusher when Mullens is in the game. And finally, Brendan Langley and Bug Howard got kicked out of practice on Saturday for fighting the 49ers, which came one day after the Denver media railed on the Broncos for not being aggressive enough during the joint practices. Basically, the media bullied the Broncos into being bullies, even though Big Fangio clearly demanded that the Broncos not be bullies. So that was a shit show. Also, Khalfani Muhammad needs a bounce-back game. Great outing against the Falcons, and then he disappeared against the Seahawks. I am pulling for you, Khalfani. Don't let me down. Also, I have Big Dick Patreon shout-outs for Kevin and Marcella Jones, Daniel Monroe, and my balls are too big to fit in my race car. Those are some big balls then, man. I'm assuming, man. Patreon.com/ThatsGoodSports. That's how you can support this channel. And for all my $5 patrons, I believe I'm going to start a Patreon fantasy league, either through a regular league, like on ESPN or some shit, or I will do a weekly league in, I think, like FanDuel, which will be free, where we could play DFS every week and you could try to beat me, which shouldn't be too hard because I am very mediocre. So keep an eye out for that at my Patreon page. I'll put updates there. Thanks for watching another episode of That's Good Sports. Please subscribe here on YouTube. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, at Brandon Perna if you want to talk football to me there. I will be live streaming Monday, and I think I am only going to live stream the preseason. Heartbreaking, I know, but it is just too hard to do that and try to make videos. So enjoy it while it lasts, I guess.